joining us here on GLS. This is GLS for the 19th of February 2016. It is 10 o'clock and it's 10 o'clock and we're jumping right on into GLS on a Friday. Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
You finally found the most generic live show. This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday on GLS. Finally, a Friday. Thanks for joining us here on the show. Yes, you might be wondering, I am still sounding like an absolute horse. You would be agreeing with you, but I have a reason this week to be sounding like an absolute horse because I have not stopped talking all week. That's right. We've got the university semester coming up, and of course, I had listeners of this show come up to me when I was up there at the open market day. Thank you for all the kind words, by the way, to everyone who did see me at the at the open market day at the campus and said kind words about my piece that I did for the privatization of the universities. People find it more relevant than ever before in that sort of regard. So thank you, everyone, for all the kind words that you said about that and about me, particularly on the privatization of the universities. It's still nice to get recognition on all that, and it's great to have the political conversation with people in terms of where we're heading next, in terms of what is next to go. That is the big question of 2016 in terms of our universities. Will our, heaven forbid, will our counselling services be outsourced? Will our student welfare be outsourced? Hell, even our campus security is being outsourced. So thank you, everyone, for the kind words and the support in that regard. It's good to be back on a Friday on the GLS. Really having fun with the show since we've come back from since I've come back from vacation. So that's good. Getting ignited. It's just so bad that I've sounded like a horse for 3 weeks, but I'm feeling a lot better than what I did last week. So have that for what you will. A couple of things before we dive straight on in. We have a busy show. We have a jam-packed show, but at 10:24, you want to be listening in. Might make it the clip of the week too. We've got some exciting developments from GLS HQ in terms of a couple of things that we'll be doing, a couple of special events that we'll be doing. So stay tuned to GLS. We'll make a couple of programming announcements, and we'll remind you of when we will be returning to our regular 10 o'clock, our regular nighttime Wednesday night slot. By the way, excited to get back into that 10 o'clock time slot. By the way, it's good to have that time slot for March. So we'll remind you at 10:24 what's coming up in that regard. But we are going to jump off. We're going to jumpstart the show. We're going to jump right on in to this debate that is happening right now in terms of Apple. Apple, the FBI, I have labeled it. Mind you, a lot of the things that I'm seeing online are a lot of the opinion pieces. They are a lot of opinion pieces. So I'm going to describe an argument for you, and what I like to do on this show, I like to call it post-opinion piece. I like to provide some of the other side and kind of rebut some of it as well. So if you're not up to speed on what this Apple and FBI FBI case is. It's a case that developed yesterday in America. It's the Apple versus FBI. The FBI sent a request to Apple to provide a hack for the Apple operating system to access the phone of San Bernardino attacker Syed Farook. It would allow the FBI to do what is called a brute force attack, using a supercomputer to try millions of security passwords to unlock it. Apple has declined. Well, from all supports, Apple has declined the unlock into the attacker's phone. Here's where we're going to break it down. The essence of Apple's legal agreement, according to CNBC, this is an article that I'm reading. The essence of Apple's legal argument in this case seems to be that the court does not have any authority to issue an order compelling it to provide proprietary software to the government. And in Apple CEO's Tim Cook's open letter to the public explaining its decision, he expressed concerns that the software Unlock the Phone could potentially fall into the wrong hands and make millions of people worldwide vulnerable. Quote, the FBI may use different words to describe this tool, but make no mistake, building a version of iOS that bypassed security in this way would undeniably create a backdoor. And while the government may argue that its use would be limited in this case, there is no way to guarantee such control, Cook wrote in a statement. That's basically what is happening. We do have some statutes to kind of provide a backbone to that. It's a 227-year-old U.S. statute that. Pardon me. I do apologize. I will be coughing quite a fair bit throughout this episode and throughout Kiko today. So do apologize for that. Some statutes here. The statute that we're talking about is where are we? It's the June 25th, 1948, chapter. Here we go. Chapter 64662, Stat 944, May 24th, 1949, Chapter 139, Statute some Sims 90, 63, Statute 102. It states that A, the Supreme Court and all courts established by the Act of Congress may issue all writs necessary or appropriate in aid of their representative judice and agreeable of the uses and principles of law. An alternative writ or rule nasi may be issued by a justice or a judge of a court which judicism, which means all writs act gives U.S. power to issue orders that do not fall under pre-existing law. So that's the 227-year statute that is being argued. That's being argued, and that's but that's 227 years old. So that's of course what's being argued here. This is that by the way, the A and B of that. Those statutes right there, that is what's giving them all of the grief, by the way. That's what's giving them all the grief, because it means that the court or any court established by the Act of the Congress has, well, this is my interpretation of it, that is they can do an order for something that is not actually a law. That is my interpretation of it. Anyway, so that's that being argued. Now back over to the opinion side of the CNBC, and now then we're going to get into what everyone loves about this show. It's Dale doesn't offer his opinion. Dale says what opinions, kind of argues opinion, and that's what people like about that privatization of the university. Just wanted to get that in there as well. So here's according to CNBC and the journalist David Gomez, who was an official FBI, a former FBI official. He states that he has long subscribed to the concept of relevance for law and support of the Constitution. I have spent many hours in annual legal training. He has spent many hours in annual legal training and refreshers where the Bill of Rights, the Fourth Amendment, and the current status of search and seize a Pete law was discussed. FBI agents were taught that search warrants were not difficult to get if you had the plausible cause to achieve evidence may be located somewhere within a premise, or in this case, a device. The determination of what is constructed significant plausible cause was determined by an independent magistrate who reviewed the facts contained I was going to say, where was I? Contained an amendment submitted under oath. He is David Gomez is currently a cybersecurity strategist and consultant. However, he asks himself, do I support the surrender of iPhone security to the government in exchange for unforgivable guarantee that they will be able to protect me from terrorism? Or does he support Apple's fight against evil government who can't protect me from terror, but rather is it bent on monitoring every facet of private lives? Well, bit of facetious questioning here from. He's not a journalist though, so I can't really rag him on that front. But we will come back to those arguments in just a moment. He believes the next section is order to hack iPhone for FBI chilling, quite chilling. He believes that the government's intuition into personal privacy is not overriding public policy issue that Apple and the Electronic Freedom Foundation would have you believe it is. All day long, the average citizen voluntarily relinquishes their personal information to social media in the form of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram messages. Interruption. I would argue that they actually know they're giving up private information when they sign up and use those social medias because that's you know what I mean, like that's they know that because of, that's where I'm going. Privacy policies. I was going to say acts. That's why I couldn't string my words together. Privacy acts and that sort of thing. That is where that is going now because of. So that's not really an argument because people know that that's where that's going. Online advertisers use complex algorithms to analyze Google, back reading David Gomez's opinion piece on CNBC, Firefox and Safari searches to develop in-depth personality process in order to allegedly enhance our, in capitals, online shopping experience, which, by the way, again, you give them that. Health insurance companies, credit card issuers, and big data aggregators make life or death decisions based on information we have voluntarily provided them. The hypocrisy, according to David Gomez, is that Apple knows more about you via your Apple ID and iPhone than they or we care to admit. But no one raises a fuss despite corporate intrusion into private lives being way more passive than any FBI ever did during his 28 career in counter-terrorism and counterintelligence. If the public is going to be angry about their loss in piracy, maybe they should focus their anger on corporations like Apple and Google, not the FBI. I'll get through this last point because this last point is really, really quick. Why Apple hack is a bad idea. Decrypting the iPhone of self-admitted terror and supporter of ISIS will not be a Pandora box, releasing all our personal information into the hands of waiting hackers. Nor will it threaten the privacy of the average citizen. It may, however, assist the FBI in determining whether or not co-conspirators of Farouk are still out there. It might just protect the public from further attacks. Ultimately, a divided U.S. Supreme Court will decide on this case, as all parties to issue will continue to appeal. A penultimate decision is reached. If David states he'll be supporting the FBI in a limited quest in this case. Is also a CNBC contributor, which makes sense. But here's one thing I will say. I will say this. One thing that I'm noticing from a lot of these opinion pieces is that people are either divided on, they are so divided on the issue for one person or the other. My thing is, and I agree, you can't have it both ways. But you can't have it both ways, but you can't also have it one way. If that makes sense. You can't have the FBI going, well, this, and what if, you can't say, the FBI is trying to protect human people by hacking the phones to getting the information about Farouk Saeed, but what if the terrorists get that information while the FBI is trying to, quote-unquote, hack them? That is something that you need to consider as well. What if this falls into the wrong hands? On the flip side of that argument, you can't have people like this saying, well, these big corporations have all this information from you. And that makes the FBI hacking less appealing in my mind, because why do have these people who hack, provide information to you? Why? I'm giving them this information, and you live in 2016. You know that all these corporations are getting your information. Trust me, you know if these companies are getting your information or not. It's just a fact of life. You do what you have to do, but on the flip side of that, whether you know or not if these multi corporations are getting your information, you definitely don't want to sit on edge when the FBI decides to hack your phone. But also, on the other, I will say this: what if you did one thing once and now you are afraid of the FBI hacking your phone? What happens at that point? Because at that point, doesn't something have to give? I don't know. It's hard. And also, I will say this before we take our break here, because we do have to be back at 10:24 for this massive announcement. I will say this. No one should have to be victim of their data being vulnerable. I'm a big proponent of that. I don't want to have my data looked into by any outsider, if that makes sense. I understand that I have an Android phone. I have Google. Google knows my details. Hell, we're using YouTube right now to broadcast this show from to listeners and viewers. Hello, if you're watching this on YouTube or on the podcast later. But the point is that if you know that is going to be but you're doing that willingly. You're not having you don't want anyone peeking at your information. These are hackers, and I know they're probably white, they're white hat hackers or good hackers or all the rest of it. But I'm still nervous at people peeking at other people's data without them knowing. That's the big thing of this. And yes, statutorily talking, there is some substance here, but there is substance here, but it just doesn't fit for some bizarre reason. I can't seem to explain it. As we continue here on GLS for a Friday, finally a Friday here on GLS, we've got a big, well, not big, but we got a couple of programming announcements. Plus, what's Google doing in terms of this? We'll break it down as we continue here on GLS. It's busy Friday. It is a busy Friday. 10:21.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Amazon. Amazon has all of your needs for all occasions. Amazon stocks a large range of pretty much everything. Everything from automotive to baby to computers, payment cards, groceries, health and personal care, and everything for Amazon Kindles, ebooks, movies and television, magazines, office products, and stuff for your patio, lawn, and garden. Hey, they even sell sports goods if you're into sports ball. If you're ready to check out the range at Amazon.com, use geek-io.net/Amazon to help out the Geek.io podcast network. We get a little bit of a kickback through our affiliate link there. That's geek-io.net/Amazon. Amazon, everything for every occasion. Everything for every occasion may not be the official slogan for Amazon. Some products not available in all areas. The Geek.io network is sponsored by Tweaked Audio. With 7 styles and 7 colors, there are mic'd and not mic'd options available, designed to sound great with music and talk, and engineered for durability. All options come with a lifetime guaranteed and a noise-reducing design, just so you don't get distracted and focus on what matters most. Compatible with all of your devices, even those weird Windows phone no one likes. We have an exciting offer just for our listeners. If you use the coupon code GEEK at checkout, you will receive a third off your order plus free worldwide shipping. Head on over to tweakedaudio.com to check out their range, and when you're ready to order, remember to use our coupon code GEEK at checkout for a third off, free worldwide shipping, and that lifetime warranty guarantee. We thank Tweaked Audio for their support of the Geek.io network.
This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday, finally. A Friday here on the Generic Live Show. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to be here, and it's 10:24. You know what that means. As per promise, can I get some fanfare, please? Oh, well. not that sort of fan. Proud to announce, we got some announcements here. It's actually handwritten announcements. Look at this. We got a couple of things. First of all, we have a special broadcast we're going to be doing. It's going to be a kind of testing broadcast for later on in the year when we cover the Australian election in greater detail. It is going to be it's going to be an election specific broadcast covering the Cairns local council elections. I know, Snorefest. I shouldn't say that because I'm actually covering them now officially. We're going to be doing a local GLS broadcast. It's going to be more of a test and format test for when the proper prime ministerial election comes around. So that'll be Saturday, 19th of March, 6 to 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I got to do the math on that one when it comes time to convert it to American time. But that's what we're looking at. 6 to 8 a.m. Saturday, the 19th of March. We're in the breakfast time slot, so that'll be exciting. Breakfast time. I'm going to be so sleepy because I'm working that Friday night. But 6 to 8 a.m. Saturday, 19th of March, we're doing a 2-hour council election special. And we're going to be, of course, talking about the mayor. We're going to be talking about the mayoral race. We're going to be talking about all the council candidates. We're going to go 2 hours. Here's your politics. Dump it all at once. So 2 hours of the council election. It's more of a format too. It's going to be live. It's going to be we welcome your calls. We welcome your feedback. But it's in literally a month from now. But it's on a Saturday. So it's a month from now on a Saturday, 19th of March, 6 to 8 a.m. And that'll be when the polls open as well. So that is happening there as well. Second announcement from GLS Programming HQ. I teased it last year, and we don't have too many details on it yet. There is going to be a few special shows. I don't want to say anything that is not confirmed on the show. I don't even want to do speculation on the show because I don't want to make promises and then not deliver. But I will say this. Some point in July or maybe early August is the tentative date we're looking at. We've got a couple of tentative dates that we're looking at in July, potentially early August, for a homecoming show, which means I'll be going back to my hometown doing a live GLS. May not be in a live studio audience, may not even be a regular show, but it'll be a live GLS talking about how catching up with family, the importance of family. It'll be home-based. It'll be based around everything about home, friendship, family, all about home, all about family values, and all the rest of it as well, because that's very important to me. So a home, family-based homecoming show will be happening in July, early August. We've got some other projects happening in July, which might make things a little bit more complicated. Don't want to say anything too much on there, but July, we got a couple of things planned. So we might have to bump the homecoming show to August. But we are doing a homecoming show, which will be, I'm looking forward to that. That's exciting. That's my little vacation to myself. Homecoming show. GLS might not be a full 2-hour broadcast, might be an hour, might be half an hour, depending on how much content I have, but it'll be home-based, it'll be at least an hour, home-based, centric show based on the home and catching up with friends and catching up with family in my home birth town of Dalby, Queensland. Look it up if you're not familiar with it, because it is rather unique, trust me. So there's the two announcements. March 19th, 6 to 8 a.m. live right here. youtube.com/GLS for council elections show, special GLS edition. And then homecoming show for July or maybe early August. So we've got plenty of things to happen there. A home-centric family show, family value show, all around the home and family. So that is exciting. So that is what is happening in Worlds of GLS. Remind you now that we will be moving back to our nighttime slot. Thank God. I'm just kidding. I love this. This time slot has been nice to us over the summer, but as we move into March, we're going to be readjusting from the 2nd of March. So next week will be a show in this time slot. Then we're moving to Wednesday from the 2nd of March. We're moving back to 10 p.m. to midnight. We're moving back into that time slot on Wednesday, the 2nd of March. That's 7 to 9 a.m. on Wednesday. So we'll be in Wednesday in both time zones. Freaky. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show, we still have what's Google saying about the Apple declining the FBI, the FBI's Apple refusing to unlock terrorist iPhone from the FBI was doing what they're saying, and Uber might be in a spot of bother. Oh no. So we continue. Lots happening on GLS. Lots to see. Lots to do. As per always, 10:31.
Hello, dear listener. Here at Geek.io, we're always happy to give some support to the little person. So today I'd like to let you know about a small internet startup called Amazon.com. Go to geek-io.net/Amazon to check out their large catalogues of books and magazines. I believe they may have some other items for sale too, records and videotapes perhaps. Using geek-io.net/Amazon lets them know you discovered them through us, and I'll throw a few pennies our way. Thank you.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by you. That's right, you. Over at patreon.com/geekio, where you can help us out with a small monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Do you know anything that you can buy for $1 a month? I don't. That's right, though. $1 a month. When there's no terms, there's no conditions. $1 per month to help us out to unlock some really, really cool goals. A goal that I personally want to help unlock is the weekly Mana Pool show, which is a weekly playthrough of D&D 5th edition. It would be really cool if we could do that weekly. And you can help that happen with as little as $1 per month. That's right, $1. $1. There's nothing you can buy with $1 these days. $1 a month would help us out tremendously. Just head on over to patreon.com/geekio to help us out. We thank you, the listeners, for your support and keeping the lights on here at the show.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is JD from How It Stacks here to talk to you about ProXPN. It is a private VPN, which basically means it is going to mask your IP address, protecting your data. So if you're out on the interwebs doing things you might not need to be doing, or if you're banking online overseas, it will help mask your data and keep it completely private. And you can do this for only $6.25 a month regularly, or you can use Geek20 for 20% off. So it's a pretty stellar deal, guys. And I'm just going to be honest, with all of the stuff that we've had going on, it's a good idea to invest in something like ProXPN.com. So I am JD, and I approve this message.
Whatever the time of day, whatever the time of the night, we're here to serve you a big dose of genericness with your host, Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday. Finally, a Friday. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show. I'm Dale Campbell. Thanks for joining me so much. I have actually, my voice, I think it's weird. As I'm warming up, my voice is actually getting a little bit better, which is really weird. I don't know how that works, but it is getting a little bit better. Oh, now here we go. I'm talking. I'm talking again, so therefore it's getting back to crap. But anyway, thanks for joining us here on GLS. We have the story that we're following quite a bit here at GLS HQ this morning is Apple refusing to allow the FBI Apple to look at the FBI, allowing the FBI to look at iPhones involved with the San Bernardino attacks. Google has reacted, of course, because Google is the next largest player in the field of smartphones and smartphones, of course. They're supporting rather Apple's move. Surprising. Apple's chief executive has sided with Apple in its battle with a judge who ordered it to help the FBI access information on the encrypted iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino attackers. Sundar Pichai, chief executive of Google, tweeted his support for Apple CEO Tim Cook, who posted an open letter Tuesday night arguing that helping the FBI decrypt Farouk's iPhone would open the floodgates for possible future piracy violations and government surveillance. It certainly would. Quote, forcing companies to enable hacking would compromise users' privacy. We know that law enforcement and intelligence agencies face significant challenges in protecting the public against crime and terrorism. We build secure products to keep information safe, and we give law enforcement access to data based on valid legal orders. But that's a wholly different than requiring companies to enable hacking of customer devices and data. Could a troubling president, looking forward to a thoughtful and open discussion on this important issue. Who is quoted there? I think that is the CEO there. Yeah, that's the CEO there. Meanwhile, families of the victims of the San Bernardino shootings are criticizing Apple for rejecting the federal order to hack into the iPhone of a dead terrorist. Quote, I feel like now there are a whole bunch of terrorists running out and buying iPhones. Like the little I in iPhone should stand for ICE. Oh, dear Lord. Maddie Pfeiffer, who lost fiance Shannon Johnson in the shooting, told New York Daily News. Rebel Tyclip, 35, the brother-in-law of 60-year-old victim Isaac Animos, said his family supports personal privacy but believes an investigation is necessary. Meanwhile, others have taken to Twitter to condemn Apple's position, unimpressed with the company's decision to hinder a federal investigation into the deadliest domestic terror attack since September 11th. Let's have a look here. The Obama administration has embraced a stronger encryption as a way to keep customers safe on the internet, but struggled to find a compelling example to make its case. So there you go. That is that as well. Meanwhile, the ride-sharing service Uber is going to be facing a difficult weekend, I believe. I believe they're going to be facing a much difficult weekend. Uber says it's losing $1 billion a year when it tries to compete with China. The company's Chinese business is now worth $8 billion, but is losing money as it fails to compete with local firms, according to The Guardian. Uber is burning through more than $1 billion a year in China as it wages a fierce price war against local rivals, its chief executive said. The company's Chinese business boosted its valuation last month to more than $8 billion, raising more than $1 billion in its last funding round. But the US ride-hailing app is not yet profitable in mainland China because of its intense competition. Quote, we are profitable in the USA, but we're losing $1 billion in China, Uber CEO Travis Kalanick told Canadian technology platform BetaKit. We have a fierce competitor that is unprofitable in every city they exist in, but they are buying up market share. I wish the world wasn't that way. Well, I hate to tell you this, but the world is that way because it is all about, you've got the dollar. Oh, it's marketing round. It's marketing round. Oh, we have fanfare for that. Here we go. Where's our fanfare? There's our fanfare. Yes. All right. I don't know why I resort to the girl screaming so much. It's quite ridiculous. Meanwhile, yeah, it's marketing 101. You can get the dollars and the market share, but it's rare to have. You can't have one without the other. Yeah, profit, market share, profit and market share, profit and market share. It's definitely hard to have one without the other. So this yeah, not even whatever. Quote, smaller competitors have to bleed subsidies to make up for their insignificant driver and rider network, the spokesperson emailed spokesperson for the Chinese company stated in an email comments to Reuters. He added that the Chinese company now operates in 400 cities, has even passed break-even point in half of those cities. See, here's the problem with the venture capital world. It's so much hard. It's very difficult to make a profit. It's even harder to break even. Now, here's the thing, though. Because once you start making money, you will, well, in terms of venture capital, you'll always be able to make money. But in terms of break even, you've got to pay back the venture capitalists. So you've got to, you know what I mean? Like you've got to pay back the people that invested in you. So, or give them their shares. And depending on how many venture capitalists there are, you've got to give back their share of the company, which means you have a smaller share. You have your share to pay off operating costs and wages, and well, I don't know what the employment is like in China in terms of. I don't think they pay insurance. I could be wrong, but I could be wrong. But it is in terms of that. There's, you've got overheads to pay from a smaller amount. In terms of a regular company, you would have 100% money that is the company's, and everyone who's a member of that company, of course, gets paid from that 100%, if that makes sense. But if you know what it's hard to explain on the radio, but if I had a whiteboard in front of me, it'd be a lot more easier. But you know what I mean? Like, instead of having, depending on how many people venture capital and how much stake they have in your company, that would be that situation. But you have to give them 20%. Whereas if they're an employee of your company, the company still has 100%, but they just have more in those outgoing costs. but you still have the company has a share. Meanwhile, in other Uber news, they're threatening to strike. There's another video on here, so we're going to see how this works. Whoop. I don't know why it's striking. Yeah, it's not even playing audio, so that's exciting. But anyway, Uber drivers are threatening to strike after the ride sharing. Yep, okay. It is definitely not playing. That's all right. That's fine. I understand that. Which I wasn't expecting it to, so I didn't plan on it. Oh, hang on. I might have to swap out a story. I just saw a story I was meant to put in there. Uber drivers are threatening to strike after the ride-sharing service announced fares would be slashed to boost passenger numbers. Queenslanders will pay 20% less for an Uber ride as of today in Brisbane, after the ride-sharing app announced fares would be slashed to boost passenger numbers. Queenslanders will pay 20% less to ride with Uber today as part of the month-long trial. Frustrated drivers who were told via email yesterday, spoken to closed groups online threatening to quit the service, while many agreed to turn off their apps in protest this weekend. In December, drivers claimed that they would be earning less than the minimum wage once taxes, expenses and Uber cuts were deducted. Uber's city-led Sam Ball said the same fare cut in Perth saw fares per hour jump by 37%. Quote, while riders are paying for a cheaper fare, they are riding a lot more, he said. It's that demand that could increase earnings for drivers. Uber drivers being handed a guaranteed 40 hours a week as consultation? I'm confused. The fares will continue to be renewed over the next month. One driver told Courier Mail the pay was unsustainably low as it is. It is okay. The pay was unsubstantially low as it is whatever. It is never the case that drivers do better when rates are slashed. I won't drive anymore. Lots are quitting, and some are not driving this weekend. So there you go. It's Brisbane. So also Queensland is known to be, very, very pro this sort of thing as well. So there's that. There's always that to consider as well. The Perth dude is right. Perth dude is absolutely 100% right. It'll definitely increase popularity of the app because people will log onto the app and go, oh, I can get from destination A. Never been to Western Australia, so I don't know. Destination A to destination B, 20% cheaper than what I normally do. That is appealing to some people. I agree that you'd have to do a lot more numbers to make the excuse me. You'd have to do more fares in order to gain back the money that you lost. But in saying that, you've got a whole lot more people introduced to that ecosystem more so than what what might have been. And people do. I experienced this when I was over in America. People open the Uber app. I was guilty of this. Well, I wasn't guilty of this, but yeah. Anyway, opening up that app and going, oh, ouch. That fare is way too exy. I'm going to go to an opposition app, which is fair. And that's why they're dropping that so they can be competitive. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Economics 101 with Dale Campbell here on a Friday. Finally a Friday, so you can enjoy your weekend without any economics. Oh, we're talking about economics next. Australia population hits 24 million. But is our GDP really where it should be? We'll tell you more as we continue here on GLS on a Friday. We'll tell you more on Friday. We'll break it down for you. It's 10:50.
Hi, this is JD. You know me from How It Stacks and other popular things that haven't quite caught on yet. But something that has caught on, that would be Think Geek. And everybody loves Think Geek because you can get Han Solo ice cubes, Daleks, sonic screwdrivers. Hell, I'm drinking a screwdriver now, but only because, I love Think Geek. And you can get all of those things except for, a screwdriver at geek-io.net/thinkgeek. And once again, I'm JD from How It Stacks and other things.
This Geek.io Podcast Network program is sponsored by Audible. They're the leaders in digital audiobooks on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes one audiobook credit per month. After your 30-day trial, your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus members-only discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. There's something for everyone. Check out geek-io.net/audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of the Geek.io Podcast Network. This Geek.io Podcast Network is proudly sponsored by T-Fury. T-Fury is the home of your t-shirt needs. Well, we're all geeks, and we all love wearing t-shirts because, well, society tells us that we can't walk around naked, allegedly. So we've got you covered. T-Fury is the home of t-shirts with geeky designs from independent artists. What's there not to love? T-shirts, geekiness, indie. Yay! When you're ready to go check out the range, use our affiliate link over at geek-io.net/T-Fury so we can get a little bit of a kickback off any t-shirt that is bought from the hundreds of t-shirts available at T-Fury. T-Fury, the match made in heaven. A match made in heaven is not actually the T-Fury slogan, although I don't actually know what the T-Fury slogan is. Opinions that are reflected in the preceding advertisement were the opinions of Dale Cameloni in order to reflect those of the Geek.io Podcast Network, its affiliates, or sponsors.
You finally found the most generic live show. This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday. Finally, a Friday here on the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, I do sound like a horse for the most part today because I just can't shut up. I wonder why. No, I spent most of the day talking at the James Cook University Open Market Day on Wednesday. It was great fun to be there, by the way. It was great fun. I have to do an event from there. Oof. 1 year. I don't know. I can't really. Well, actually. I had just had a thought. Just had a thought. Any of my assistants listening to this, note that down, by the way. Note that down for July. Could it be July? Could be July. Anyway, thanks for joining us here on a Friday. Australia, we have a GDP, right? A gross domestic product, which means you know, are we growing as a nation or are we failing as a nation? We have our population this week went to 24 million people, by the way. This rapid boom from 23 million, by the way. Australia's GDP is rising. However, it has only risen 2% last year. 2% in the last annum for our GDP. So that's pretty poor, if you ask me. There's really not much you can do with 2%. It's just like, hey, you get a pay rise, but you only hired 4 people this year. So the only kind of going off. There's not really much happening to your pay pocket, pretty much, at the end of the day, if you're looking at it like that. But I will say this: there's really not much happening to your pay pocket if you're doing, if you're doing that. In saying that, though, from September 1990, it has been raised threefold, which is nice, I guess. But disposable income for families, while jumped over 1.5 fold, has been decreasing since September of around October of 2010, after the stimulus package and wage growth as well. It's important to note that population growth and falling income is not a cause and effect. They aren't mutually are mutually exclusive. I never knew how that mutually exclusive thing worked in mathematics, by the way. Anyway, without population growth, extra people buying things, the economy would have looked more grim. Japan has had the worst problem. Their population is shrinking, so their national GDP is falling, but per capita things aren't too bad. But this article is a bit hokey pokey. That's why I'm being jumping all over the place. But since 2011 rather, there's a 1 there. That growth has not been actually enough to lift the per capita of disposable income. We bounced back pretty well from 2009, but then things went really pear-shaped when then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd decided to inject fake money into the economy, which is what happens. And while Tony Abbott and Joe Hockey decided that they would bring us back to surplus in 4 years, it's gonna be interesting to see where the next budget takes us. Based on this information of, yes, our GDP was raised 2%, but disposable income is not going up as fast in the last and is in a decreasing climb, is decreasing overall. So it'd be interesting to see where that goes. So anyway, so we continue here on GLS on a Friday. Finally, a Friday. As we continue, well, everyone's visiting everywhere. The Pope is in Mexico for some weird reason. And of course, we can't go for a show in 2016 without talking politics. The Pope is in Mexico and Obama is going to Cuba. we're going to give you all the details of everyone's worldwide trip around the world for no reason. Mind you, Obama has a pretty significant political reason for his. I don't know why the Pope is in Mexico, but anyway, we'll continue, and the Pope is saying some really, really nasty things about a presidential candidate. You can probably guess who that is. I don't need to tell you who that is, but I will anyway. So we continue. It's 11 o'clock.
Hey there, everyone. It's Dale Campbell here from the Geeko Podcast Network to tell you more about ThinkGeek. ThinkGeek is the biggest online retailer of all things geeky, from the big names of geek that you know and love. For example, they stock the biggest range of Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Minecraft, Zelda, Marvel, Game of Thrones, DC Comics, and Geek Lab items. Currently, ThinkGeek are having their super winter clearance with up to 75% off hundreds of items, such as the Star Wars printed R2-D2 stocking. Originally $24.99, now down to only $12.49. Or what about the Firefly 4-pack exclusive ornaments? Perfect for any tree. Down 40% to $10.79. Or what about a build-on-brick mug? They're ranging from $4.99 to $9.99. Or you can pick up Doctor Who pajama pants for just $13. Or an organ transport lunch cooler. Perfect for those long days at the office. How about a Star Wars Death Star measuring cups? Perfect for the Force in the kitchen. This and many more items, a part of the winter clearance, can be found at ThinkGeek. With free shipping in the United States, with orders $75 and over, or a flat $6.95 US standard shipping. When you're ready to go over to the massive superstore that is ThinkGeek for all things geeky, head on over to geek-io.net/ThinkGeek to head on over to ThinkGeek. That gives us a little bit of a kickback on all of the items that you order. Don't worry, we don't see what you actually buy, so there is no shame if you decide to order the Build on Brick Holiday Wrath or the Fallout 4 Vault Boy Holiday Ornaments. There is no shame if you order the Candy Cane Power Brick at all. We don't see that, but we do get a little bit of a kickback when you do go and order through us at ThinkGeek. ThinkGeek, join in, geek out with ThinkGeek for their support of the Geek.io Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. Dale Campbell here from GLS. I hope you're enjoying the show, by the way. I certainly am. And it's time for a quick Geek.io Winter Movie Smackdown update. Yes, we have 2 active movies at the moment. Exiting this weekend is Pride, the Prejudice, and the Zombies. Only making $10 million. Not doing too well, but one that's doing really well is Deadpool, earning Raul Garza $7.4 million value. It's at $163 million. And here's the leaderboard. CJ Boat at 31 million. Jared 31.1 actually, yeah. Jared Azevedo at 19.9. Raul Garza at 19.5. I'm at 17.2. And Sakani is at 12.9. Join us on Geek.io, 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time Zone after GLS. Don't miss it. You wouldn't want to miss a thing. Now, back to the Generic Live Show and all of its generic goodness. Thanks for listening.
This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday. Finally, a Friday here on the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us on the Generic Live Show. We've had a jam-packed second hour for you, so we're not going to waste any more time, and let's jump straight into it. A lot of people have a lot of things on their itinerary, actually, this coming season. That's a perfect time to end that song. Thank you. Thank you, me. By the way, I produce the show. I do have a few lackeys who help me put news stories together, but I run this ship like it is my own. By the way, it is so good to just to run things. I know how things are run around here. But anyway. Meanwhile, Pope Francis is in Mexico. For whatever reason, okay, by the way, why? First of all, why is the the Pope in Mexico? This segment, by the way, is full of why? It's going to be full of that, by the way. It's going to be full of why. It's going to be full of why, the segment. Full of why. Pope Francis was interviewed in Mexico in regards to what he thinks of the US election campaign. I know a few Christian people. I have a good friend of mine who is Christian, and I also have Catholic friends, which is what I was thinking about. But I have a few Catholic friends and I have a few Christian friends. My upbringing was Christian / born again Anglican, but I hate it when Pope Francis decides that he's going to just go to Mexico. First of all, I never knew Mexico was a Christian country, first of all. And why is he not going to Christian or religious countries like Vanuatu, who still believe, and not necessarily the Pope, but believe heavily in Christian values? Why is he not going to countries like that are appealing to that sort of market, by the way? They are friendly to that sort of market. So he would do just fine in Vanuatu. But that's not the question here. The question is, what? Anyway, he was responding to a quote. He's throwing out the claim that Donald Trump is not a Christian because of immigration policies. Quote, whoever he is, who wants to build walls and not bridges is not a Christian, the pontiff told journalists in his return journey from a trip to Mexico. Went to Mexico. It's in Mexico. Vote, don't vote, I don't middle, but I simply say if he says things, this man is not a Christian. Mr. Francis, the pontiff said, we need to say if he really said them for this, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. That's your job, dude. That's your job, dude. Your job. This is ridiculous. That's your job to give people the benefit of the doubt. But anyway, despite that call for Pope Francis' remarks drew swift and angry condemnation from the billionaire tycoon. For a religious leader to question a person's faith is disgraceful, Mr. Trump said in a statement delivered on his campaign stop in South Carolina. I'm proud to be a Christian, and as president, I will not allow Christianity to be consistently attacked and weakened. I'd hate to say it, folks. Note it down. Friday the 19th of February, 11:10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time Zone. I agree with Donald Trump that I don't know the man's faith, and I don't know him personally enough to know the man's faith, but he's kind of right. He's kind of got a point here. That the Pope shouldn't be attacking people. Pope Francis, no, and I want that to sit with you for a while. I said that. Dale Campbell said on GLS on the 19th of February 2016 at 11:10 a.m. Not 10:10, 11:10 a.m. We're an hour 2 now. Dale, wake up. That I agree with Donald Trump in terms of this, by the way. And I don't agree with a lot of what Donald Trump says, for the record, but I do agree in this situation because, it's just wrong to say some of this stuff. But anyway. Oh, I've just figured out while he was in Mexico, it just occurred to me, he was doing the thing with the Zika virus. Yeah, well, anyway. Key points from the Pope's speech. Pope says he's not a Christian. Pope says Trump's not a Christian. Comments stem from Trump's views on immigration. Trump says the remarks were disgraceful. Ta-da! Welcome to like 4 months ago. But anyway, but the big question is, Michael Vincent says that does analysis. He's the US correspondent for the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. He analyzes this and says, will Trump versus Francis affect the polls? The absolute maelstrom around Donald Trump has only gotten much bigger as they've headed into South Carolina's primary, where he's counting on the evangelical vote. There's a national polls out saying that Senator Ted Cruz passed him, but he's been the front runner for the Republican campaign since he began in June last year. BTW, side note, that poll is an outlier poll because there was 3 polls out of the US this morning that said that, 2 of which said that Trump was in the lead. And one said that Senator Ted Cruz was leading. Mind you, I wouldn't put it past that Senator Cruz is the front runner in a lot of those Bible states. He won New Hampshire, came second in Iowa. He's heading into South Carolina with a 15 to 20% lead on some people. If the polls bear out, he's going to win that. And I don't think many Americans are going to be too upset. At least people that would potentially support Donald Trump. That some guy who lives in Rome is the leader of the Catholic Church, attacked their guy, their man. Their bulwark against the elite, so to speak. Which that's not a stone throw away too far away from the truth. However that saying goes, that's not too far away because that's true. That's the type of Donald Trump supporter, by the way, is the I'm going to defend this man on all accounts, no matter if he has done wrong or if he hasn't done wrong. That is not a stone throw away from the truth, unfortunately. Unfortunately for fortunately for Donald Trump, I don't think that is too much away from, that is too far away from the truth. Meanwhile, oh wow, there's more on this one. Oh, here we go. It gets interesting. The new pope is a humble man, very, very much like me, which probably explains why I like him so much. That is a tweet from Donald Trump on Christmas Day in 2013. Anyway, Mr. Trump was backed by the head of the world's Christian University, Jerry Falwell Jr., who, in response to the spat, went on CNN and appeared to liken Trump to Jesus Christ. Oh, no. Do I even continue reading? Donald Trump does not wear his religion on his sleeve, but I believe he's a man of faith, he says. I can only quote Jesus Christ, who said, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." Jesus called the religious elite of his day hypocrites, a generation of vipers who called them wolves in sheep's clothing. So if what Donald Trump said was bad, then what Jesus said is bad, because Jesus questioned religious leaders who judged others, and that's exactly what Donald Trump said in his comments today. Okay. Other candidates jumped in and said this as well. Rubio said, if I haven't seen his statement, but if I'm an elected official of the United States of America, and our number one obligation is to make the people safe, and immigration system is a part of that, Mr. Rubio said. Bush said, that's not an unchristian thing to do, to make sure that people don't come across our border illegally. So there you go. It's just a thing to do. But that's the thing, though, because Rubio didn't see the statement. So, excuse me. Rubio didn't see the statement. So that's a candid response. Fair candid response, by the way. So I don't want to take too much away from him on that one. And Bush basically seems to support that. So I don't know what's going on in this race anymore. I just feel like going into a ball and just going, make this all be over. Can we have like everyone shut up and do their own thing, and yeah, make you want to melt. Speaking of making you want to melt, quick little anecdote before we take the break, because I only have a couple of minutes here before we have to go to break. It is sweltering. Oh my gosh. The last couple of days have been 100-degree days. Of course, I'm sitting in the studio here at the moment. Can't have the fan on, but I'm going to have to compromise. I'll be fine for the rest of this show, because there's not really that much left on this show. But it's heading up there. For 11 o'clock in the morning, it's getting thick, eh? Where are we at the moment? Can we do a live weather check? 11:18. Where are we? 33 degrees Celsius. Oh, dear Lord. Ugh. Boiling. Anyway, sweating or not, perfect hair or not. So we continue here on GLS, here on a Friday. Finally, a Friday here on the Generic Live Show. As we continue, we have quite a big story, actually. Village Roadshow and Foxtel will launch a fight against piracy. They will fight for a right against piracy. What extent will they go to? We just have to find out as we continue. 10. Hour 2, Dale. Get it in your head. 11:19.
Geeko Podcast Network is proudly sponsored by ProXPN. ProXPN is an uber secure VPN that believes you should be able to use the internet how you want to. By encrypting all traffic that goes through it, keeps your data private, your IP address is completely hidden, so your location is secure. Keeps you safe from all of those stupid Cable 6 strike rules and more. With everything going on the internet these days, particularly now in 2016, all the threats and Trojan horses and Big Brother watching you, ProXPN is a very good investment. And good news is it's very affordable and won't break the bank. Keep your traffic safe. Go to proxpn.com and when you're ready to order, use our coupon code GEEK20, that's GEEK 20, for 20% off the already really low price of $6.25 a month. We thank ProXPN for their support of the Geek.io network.
Hello, dear listener. Here at Geek.io, we're always happy to give some support to the little person. So today I'd like to let you know about a small internet startup called Amazon.com. Go to geek-io.net/Amazon to check out their large catalogues of books and magazines. I believe they may have some other items for sale too, records and videotapes perhaps. Using geek-io.net/Amazon lets them know you discovered them through us and they'll throw a few pennies our way. Thank you.
This Geeko Podcast Network is proudly sponsored by Think Geek. Think Geek is the biggest online retailer of all things geeky. That's right, everything geeky. And they stock the biggest brands in geekiness like Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Minecraft, Legend of Zelda, Marvel, Game of Thrones, DC Comic, and Geek Labs. And they sell a whole bunch of things like collectibles, electronics and gadgets, t-shirts and apparel, gifts. They sell it all over at Think Geek. And they have free shipping on orders over $75 or a flat $6.95 US standard shipping to all places in the US. So when you're ready to check out the range over at Think Geek, the online geek superstore, just use our link to go over to Think Geek over at geek-io.net/thinkgeek. That gives us a little bit of a kickback on what you buy. Don't worry, we're not stealing your shoe size or asking you for a blood sample. It's okay. We're only getting a kickback from what you buy. We don't actually see what you buy from Think Geek. Join in, geek out, Think Geek. We thank Think Geek for their support of the Geek.io Podcast Network. This Geek.io Podcast Network program is sponsored by Audible. They're the leaders in digital audiobooks on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try Audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes one audiobook credit per month. After your 30-day trial, your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus members-only discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. There's something for everyone. Check out geek-io.net/audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of the Geek.io Podcast Network.
This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell.
For this type of place, you're tied up and crazy, sinking in your fate. Too many runaways, just tearing up the night. So when you hear this song, remember, turn off the radio. Don't
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday. Finally, a Friday here on the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us on a Friday. I just wanted to make that play. It's a great cover. It's Phone Calls from Home. We built this city. I don't know why we don't play more of music that we're actually allowed to play. It just happens. I don't know. We normally do try and play it safe here on GLS. Sometimes we go outside of the realm and play other music apart from royalty free. But if you've got a song that you want us to play, I think I might have to just clip that out. By the way, that was brilliant. By the way, I just want to. I might have to go out. I'll isolate that out. That was so good. In the middle of a word. If you've got something that you want to play, you can email the Chef Wonder THECHEFWONDER @gmail.com. Put GLS in the subject line, so we can get to it a lot quicker. That way it gets filtered through easier. So Slavic doors aside, thank you for joining us. Village Roadshow and Foxtel are fighting for their right against piracy. That doesn't necessarily work. Just Village Roadshow and Foxtel are leading separate actions in the Australian Federal Court to block piracy websites, which enables users to watch Hollywood blockbusters such as Star Wars and local dramas, including Wentworth, for free. Two actions are to be first taken to the federal court under the Copyright Amendment Online Infringement Act, passed by Parliament June of last year. We talked about that ad nauseum here. Village Roadshow and its backers, including Hollywood Studios, Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Universal, Sony, 21st Century Fox, are seeking to block Solar Movie, a site which has been blocked under similar laws in the United Kingdom and just this month in Singapore. Foxtel is lodging to block websites, including the infamous torrent site The Pirate Bay. Again. And again. Sources in the music industry say they fully intend to make the important remedy introduced by the government last year. Australian legislation allows right holders to apply it to a federal court judge to have overseas websites that primary for facilitating copyright infringement blocked. They should the application be successful, the ISPs like Telstra, Optus, TPG, and Doodoo, I know it's Dodo, but Doodoo, will be required to block access to the infringing sites. It would not see Australians using the sites be prosecuted, just simply stop working, unless they're on a VPN. Two incentives are needed for Village Roadshow co-executive Graham Burke. He told Fairfax Media that blocking the sites need to be accompanied by two incentives. Quote, the legislation needs to be accompanied by sincere, passionate communication to win people over, and we have to continue providing product in a timely and affordable way, Mr. Burke said. A spokesperson said that it applied for the injunction to block unauthorized access to content created for and by the pay TV provider. Quote, these sites enable people to steal shows such as Wentworth, A Place Called Home, and Open Slather. That show. Despite the writers, directors, actors, editors, costume designers, and many others of the right to be appropriately rewarded for their creative efforts. Each of these sites have been subject to blocking orders and other judiciaries. So, yeah, a holistic strategy is required. While the arguments have been made that the introduction of streaming services such as Netflix and Stan, which are 50-50 owned by Fairfax Media and 99 Entertainment, Stan is owned 50-50 by Fairfax and Nine, Presto, a joint venture between Seven West Media and Foxtel, have helped fight piracy. Screen Producers Australia Chief Executive Matt Diener said that there's still a problem. Screen Producers Australia still believes a holistic strategy is required to tackle piracy, one that introduces public education, promotion of legal alternatives, and a pathway to stronger enforcement, Mr. Diener said. Quote, the launch of this case today is evidence that piracy still continues to be a significant commercial threat and cannot be taken lightly when there is so much at stake. It's not just jobs and investment, but also very foundational, which content that people are stealing is built. I will agree with Mr. Diener there, unquote. Mr. Diener there, I'd agree with you because this type of thing, the piracy, is encouraging people to steal content as well. So, and that is being encouraged still to this day. So we have to come up with a solution that kind of covers all of the bases in terms of, getting things to a point where we've got not a healthy balance, trust me, where you get a balance in the affirmative for the content creators at least. But you got to think of this as well. We've got more and more people releasing TV shows and stuff making TV shows exclusively for free platforms like YouTube. How are the big giant production houses going to be competing with those people? You got to think of that as well. So you've still got the, it's all good and well for people to attack the court, well, not attack the court, but lodge these claims against can't find my words today. To find do that to the courts and that sort of thing as well. But how are we going to have the other side of that coin flip when people are, of course, seeing this in the media and go, well, they want to keep the content more locked up. People are seeing that, and people are thinking that is the more of the way to go is to, they want to put things on a lock. So therefore, I'm going to go through the back door. Bleep them. As we continue self-censorship, as we continue here on GLS, thanks for joining us here on a Friday with Dale Campbell. I'm Dale Campbell, by the way, if you did not know that. Thanks for joining us. As we continue, not many people know this about the US political race, but we know that people go to primary elections and win delegates. But no one really knows how the super delegate system works. Also, before we get to that, though, before we get to pretend I'm dumb about super delegates, we'll get to President Obama, the story from earlier this hour. President Obama wanting to go to Cuba. First time in the Civil War. I'm getting a wind-up signal really hardcore at the moment to take a break. As we continue, it's 11:33.
This Geeko Podcast Network is proudly sponsored by T-Fury. T-Fury is the home of your t-shirt needs. Well, we're all geeks and we all love wearing t-shirts because, well, society tells us that we can't walk around naked, allegedly. So we've got you covered. T-Fury is the home of t-shirts with geeky designs from independent artists. What's there not to love? T-shirts, geekiness, indie. Yay! When you're ready to go check out the range, use our affiliate link over at geek-io.net/tfury so we can get a little bit of a kickback off any t-shirt that is bought from the hundreds of t-shirts available at T-Fury. T-Fury, the match made in heaven. A match made in heaven is not actually the T-Fury slogan, although I don't actually know what the T-Fury slogan is. Opinions that are reflected in the preceding advertisement towards the opinions of Dale Campbelloni in order to reflect those of the Geeko Podcast Network, its affiliates, or sponsors. This podcast is proudly brought to you by you. That's right, you. over at patreon.com/geekio, where you can help us out with a small monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Do you know anything that you can buy for $1 a month? I don't. That's right, though. $1 a month. When there's no terms, there's no conditions. $1 per month to help us out to unlock some really, really cool goals. A goal that I personally want to help unlock is the weekly Mana Pool Show, which is a weekly playthrough of D&D 5th edition. It would be really cool if we could do that weekly. And you can help that happen with as little as $1 per month. That's right, $1. $1. There's nothing you can buy with $1 these days. $1 a month would help us out tremendously. Just head on over to patreon.com/geekio to help us out. We thank you, the listeners, for your support and keeping the lights on here at the show.
Hi, this is JD. You know me from How It Stacks and other popular things that haven't quite caught on yet. But something that has caught on, that would be Think Geek. And everybody loves Think Geek because you can get Han Solo ice cubes, Daleks, sonic screwdrivers. Hell, I'm drinking a screwdriver now, but only because, I love Think Geek. And you can get all of those things except for, a screwdriver at geek-io.net/thinkgeek. And once again, I'm JD from How It Stacks and other things.
You finally found the most generic live show. This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday, finally. A Friday here on the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us. A nice little groovin' track for your Friday morning, 11:37. Good to be here with you this morning. Thanks for joining us. Won't be saying this morning for quite much longer. We're going back our time slot, baby. Oh, yes. All right. All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. All right. Thanks for joining us on GLS. This is why I'm not a regular DJ host, by the way, because I do not have the voice for it, particularly today. My voice seems a bit whiny than normal. I do apologize. I have not stopped talking since Wednesday morning. It's been so damn hot here. I was just during the ad break. I do sometimes get up and up and around. Up and moving just to try and keep the blood circulation. We're up. I'm doing this for American conversion. We're at 110 right now. So where I am, so it's ridiculous. That'd be over 40 degrees. Where are we? Settings. 43. So it is quite ridiculous at the moment. So I don't know how I'm gonna last. I really don't. Might die on there. But before I die, I'm going to tell you about President Obama. So that this will probably make me die even more. President Obama will end decades of Cold War hospitality and mistrust by visiting Cuba in March. President Obama will be the first U.S. president to visit Cuba since 1928. Next month, I will travel to Cuba and advance our progress and efforts to improve the lives of the Cuban people, Obama wrote on Twitter on Thursday. So today, yeah. He will meet Cuban President Raul Castro, but not his 89-year-old brother Fidel, who, after the 1959 Communist Revolution, became one of Washington's most notorious bogeymen and a target for numerous assassination plots by the CIA. As Farrell's health declined, Raul took over the presidency and was officially elected in 2008. Ben Rhodes, Obama's deputy national security advisor, told reporters at the White House, quote, "I don't expect him to meet with Fidel Castro. Raul Castro is the president of Cuba. He'll certainly meet President Castro." Obama will meet civil society advocates, entrepreneurs, and, quote, Cubans from all different walks of life, Rhodes added, and a historical speech to the Cuban people is expected. Quote, "I certainly think he would want to look for some opportunities to address the Cuban people." Obama has promised to push hard for the lasting accomplishment in his final year in office and define traditional prospects of lame duck presidency. Normalizing relations with Cuba, the nuclear deal with Iran are likely for the first paragraph of any analyst in his foreign policy legacy. Oh, that deal with Iran, though. Anyway, which he'll be down there on the 23rd and the 24th of March. Anyway, good on him, I guess. I don't understand. Nothing's changed. What has changed in terms of Cuba? What has changed in terms of doing things for the American people? What has Cuba done for us in the last 9 months? How long ago was it announced that we would be going to that Cuba would be opening up an embassy, a U.S. embassy in Cuba? Can't remember how long ago that was. Someone remind me. I'm confused. Meanwhile, super delegates. The segment I've been really looking forward to. So, Hillary Clinton should be winning. America's former First Lady or Front Lady and Secretary of State has a clear path to her party's presidential nomination. She's rolling in cash, wielding a ruthless, efficient campaign machine, with facing just one rival, Bernie Sanders, and a 74-year-old who has openly described himself as a socialist, as the least socialist country on earth. Let's compare Hillary Clinton's last run for president in 2008, when she was caught off guard by the historical candidacy of Barack Obama. This time, it should be easy, but Clinton is struggling. 9 days ago, Sanders walloped Clinton in New Hampshire primary, ranking 151 v. 95. In other words, the woman rightly perceived as Democrats' only viable nominee for president, just conceded more than 60% of the vote to a rank outsider. There are a few reasons that crashing defeat. Hillary fans stressed in New Hampshire has fewer minority voters than other states, making it a natural fit for Sanders. Clinton's critics pointed to the signs to voters don't trust her, where Sanders led that exit poll 92-6. Whether it's caucuses, the effort of Sanders' triumph was stark. The first two contestants in the primary campaign was just scraping. And he now leads nationally 56-42. So there's that. However, Clinton and Sanders, it gets interesting when they're compared delegates. Let's break that down. So, earned delegates in total delegates so far: 394 for Clinton, 44 for Sanders. Sanders has earned more normal delegates, 36-32, whereas Clinton's earned more super delegates than Sanders. Understandably, Sanders fans aren't happy. In their view, Clinton is being propped up by the party's unrepresentable establishment at the expense of an outsider with the support of ordinary Democratic votes. At the time of this writing, 19th of February at 8:56 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, there are two petitions. Move On. By the activist group Move On. This process is undemocratic and fundamentally unfair to the Democratic primary voters, the group, as director Aya Shearman said. Democracy only works when the vote of people, not the decision of a number of elites. Superdelegates must stand with voters in honor of their outcome in primary and caucuses held across the country. The party's base simply does not tolerate anti-democratic efforts by superdelegates to the will of the people. More neutral voices are pointing out that Clinton's structural advantage. If you were a Sanders supporter, you might think it's profoundly unfair. And you'd be right. It is profoundly unfair. Stats guru Nate Silver wrote on 538. Superdelegates were created in part to give the Democratic Party elites an opportunity to put their finger on the scale. It isn't about to get any better for Sanders either. According to The Hill, Clinton can count on support for over half of the superdelegates in Nevada and South Carolina, which those states are voting on Saturday. Sanders himself isn't complaining. He's counting on the repeat of Clinton's long, tough campaign against Barack Obama, in which she also raced to an early lead among superdelegates, but then watched many of them deflect to Barack Obama. They realized Obama was going to be the nominee anyway. Quote, if we continue to do well around the country, and if superdelegates' main interest in life is to make sure we don't have a Republican in the White House, if they understand I am the candidate who is best suited to defeat the Republican nominee, I think they'll start coming over to us, Sanders told CBS Sunday. The Democratic National Committee, which oversees the party primaries, is also playing down the importance of superdelegates. Ultimately, each state delegation is comprised of a diverse group of citizens like you and the Democratic leaders you elected. Denise Traylor, the committee's director of Party Affairs and Delegate Selection, wrote last weekend. So, but it's interesting because these super delegates are way more, they play a way bigger role in this process than the voters do. So what I'm understanding is that these super delegates have more of a role. They kind of play into the hands of the candidate, but they sound like they're fully flexible. As to say, they're not necessarily pushovers, but they will go to whatever's going, if that makes sense. They'll go to whatever, whoever is the most popular person of the day, if that makes sense. Which is fair. I mean, you don't want to throw if you're a super person, you don't want to be supporting a loser. I can understand that. You want your name to be a part. You want your name to be a part of someone who is going to win. So it's all fair game, love in politics, I guess. So we continue here on GLS, here on a Friday. A tumbleweed is causing a bit of a havoc and maybe causing some victims. Oof. It's rough. We'll break it down for you as we continue here on GLS. Thank you so much for joining us here on GLS for a Friday. Finally, a Friday here on GLS. Whether you're listening to us live or on your hard drive, we do appreciate your listenership. 11:49.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Amazon. Amazon has all of your needs for all occasions. Amazon stocks a large range of pretty much everything. Everything from automotive to baby to computers, payment cards, groceries, health and personal care, and everything for Amazon Kindles, ebooks, movies and television, magazines, office products, and stuff for your patio, lawn, and garden. Hey, they even sell sports goods if you're into sports ball. If you're ready to check out the range at Amazon.com, use geek-io.net/Amazon to help out the Geek.io podcast network. We get a little bit of a kickback through our affiliate link there. That's geek-io.net/Amazon. Amazon, everything for every occasion. Everything for every occasion may not be the official slogan for Amazon. Some products not available in all areas. This Geek.io podcast network program is sponsored by Audible. They're the leaders in digital audiobooks on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes one audiobook credit per month. After your 30-day trial, your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus members-only discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. There's something for everyone. Check out geek-io.net/Audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of the Geek.io podcast network. The Geek.io network is sponsored by Tweaked Audio. With 7 styles and 7 colors, there are mic'd and not mic'd options available, designed to sound great with music and talk, and engineered for durability. All options come with a lifetime guaranteed and a noise-reducing design, so you don't get distracted and focus on what matters most. Compatible with all of your devices, even those weird Windows phone no one likes. We have an exciting offer just for our listeners. If you use the coupon code GEEK at checkout, you will receive a third off your order plus free worldwide shipping. Head on over to tweakedaudio.com to check out their range, and when you're ready to order, remember to use our coupon code GEEK at checkout for a third off, free worldwide shipping, and that lifetime warranty guarantee. We thank Tweaked Audio for their support of the Geek.io network.
Hello, dear listener. Here at Geek.io, we're always happy to give some support to the little person. So today I'd like to let you know about a small internet startup called Amazon.com. Go to geek-io.net/Amazon to check out their large catalogs of books and magazines. I believe they may have some other items for sale too, records and videotapes perhaps. Using geek-io.net/Amazon lets them know you discovered them through us, and I'll throw a few pennies our way. Thank you.
ProXPN. ProXPN is a super secure VPN that believes you should be able to use the internet how you want to. By encrypting all traffic that goes through it, it keeps all of your data private. Your IP is completely hidden, so your location is secure and appears wherever you want it to. Keeps you safe from all of those silly Cable 6 strike rules and more. Keep your traffic safe. Go to proxpn.com and use Geek20 for 20% off of their already really low prices starting at $6.25 a month. We want to thank ProXPN for your support of the Geek.io network.
This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on a Friday. Finally, a Friday here on the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us here on the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for putting up with my weird voice thing today. I don't know why it has been such a. It's fine. I'm feeling a lot better. Once I start talking in the morning, it kind of dies down. But it's still, my throat feels like it's very. Help me! But thank you for tolerating it this long. We want to remind you of a couple of announcements we've made in the show before we get to our final story. Remember, Saturday, 19th of March, 6 to 8 a.m., youtube.com/generic live show. There will be a local programming show, kind of a test for special election coverage of the Cairns local council elections. I know, I'm covering it. Yeah, that's what it is. What it is. It's breakfast radio at its finest. It is what it is. Also, we are doing a homecoming show. I'm going to go back to my hometown of Dalby, Queensland. It's about 3 hours west of Brisbane in Queensland. Going back down there, catching up with a whole bunch of family I've not seen in years. So we're going to be doing a show about family and friends and the importance of friendship, the importance of all that sort of fun stuff as well. And I'm going to be going down there. We're going to be doing a GLS from the town of Dalby. Whether it's going to be live, I don't know. If there's no demand for that, I don't know if Dalby has radio or what's the story there. But I just wanted to remind people that the tentative date for that we're working on is July or early August. Got a couple of other things in the works for July, so we want to see how those pan out first, but this is a definite July or early August. I'm actually more leaning towards early August, but anyway, that depends, but we'll confirm details of that as we're going along here. Speaking of as we're going along here, we want to get to this final story, of course. Perna's town of Wollongata in southeast Australia has been deluged by a tidal wave of tumbleweed this week. Residents believe that piles of wispy weed are coming from unkept paddock on a nearby farm, where Penicillium ephemerum, a type of long tuft grass, is growing unchecked. Penicillium ephemerum, you might be tickled to know, means hairy picnic. Or hairy panic, sorry, picnic. Hairy picnic. But Parner is not the only one for hysteria. Like many of his neighbors, he is approaching the tumbleweed takeover of his town with a texture of resignation and bewilderment. This is a first world problem. It's a first world problem. We don't need to put it on the scale with any famine or poverty that is going on in the world, he told the ABC. I'm sure farmers have dealt with this for years. It's just nice to know that people know about it, understand, and sympathize with it. Plus, it might be an opportunity to put Wollongata on the map. Perhaps the town could become a mecca for goat owners or a hub of scarecrow production. We are looking forward to ways to capitalize on this thing, Perna said. Perna, referring to Jason Perna, he is tumbleweed man responsible for the tumbleweed man. In photos, the tuft of the hairy picnic look delicate and practically dysmorphous. Grosma stands for yellow gold grass that settles in clouds around buildings and against fences. But close up, the stuff is just Missonance. This weird, long, complicated story trying to be all complicated. I spent 8 hours yesterday cleaning up the tumbleweed, Wollongata resident Cherry Lengard told Australia's 7 News. She opened up the gate to her yard where the weed piled waist high. And this is what we've got today. Lagarde held her hands out in expression. It's physically draining and mentally more draining, added a neighbour, Pam Twitchlet. The hairy panic comes around every year, and it's an epidemic that's part of Australia. But this summer it's been particularly bad, 7 News reported, because the conditions have been so dry. According to the ABC, the local council held an emergency meeting to discuss the tumbleweed troubles. It's considering sending street sweepers to assist the cleanup, and also call in county fire authority. The weed does not pose a fire risk, according to reports, and the local veterinary surgeon Richard Evans told BBC it's not toxic to animals once it's dried out. It just makes a hell of a mess, apparently. So thank you, Tumbleweed Man, for making millions and millions of, no, tens and tens of people's life. No, I grew up in a country town, so that's why I brought this story up. Tumbleweeds. We had a few tumbleweeds, but nothing too significant when we grew up. So that's it. It's just we're thinking of you, Wollongata. We're thinking of you. As we continue, we don't continue because we're out of here. Thanks for joining us, GLS. We'll see you all next week. It's 11. Keep doing that. The time is now 12:01.
This has been a Chef on the Media production. For more, visit chefwondermedia.net. Delivered fresh to your ear holes. Copyright 2016.
This podcast is a part of the Geek.io Media Network.
That was abrupt, wasn't it? Okay. I gotta joke about this real quick. So I'm still using some old software while I transition into something new to play all my bumper music. But I'm not using that to broadcast any of my sound through Google or through the recording. It's a new mixer setup. So I'm still using that as kind of just a music player. It's now discovering that I'm cheating on it with something much better. So it's decided that it's going to close down every 6 minutes, and have a guess how long that segment was. 6 minutes. So, but that's all right. We'll get there in the end. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.